Let it be known that the true light shines in every woman and man that cometh into the world. The true light that shineth in the darkness, but the darkness comprehendeth it not. Let us all within air of this true light fellowship hour bear witness to the true light within, that we may, like the real and living Messiah, Yahshua Christ, who many know today as Jesus Christ, pick up and bear our own cross, that we may be worthy of the Messiah by way of the Christ or Christ consciousness, known also as the first resurrection. And as we are now living in these times, let us all rise from our sleep and slumber and do the works of the Most High Heavenly One this day and every day, as we say, Amun, 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 and Namastu, which simply means, I bow to the divinity in you. Well, Namastu again, and welcome to another Sunday service here at the Holy Qubtic Church of the Black Messiah. My name is Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Ka-Hun, Anku Sa Ra. And as always, we like to begin with our listening congregation, those who may be hearing this through the radio or Facebook or YouTube. We encourage you to come down to historic Baintown at number 72 Meadow Street any Sunday at 9 a.m. for our Sunday service, or any Wednesday at 7 p.m. for our True Light Fellowship and Bible study, which is more of a question and answer session. Today, like every other Sunday, is a special Sunday, and I'm happy to see those of you who did make it to the Kanisa this morning. Beautifully arrayed in your white and your garbs, and just seeing you all in any event. Really, really happy. Um, today's sermon is entitled Black Wives Matter. Black Wives Matter. Of course, we're playing off of the hashtag Black Lives Matter. And this actually is entitled. This is the title of another video that I actually saw on Facebook of a brother who was sharing his sentiments on the importance of black relationships, black love, and what it means for the black community. And so I borrowed it. I can't remember the gentleman's name. I don't even know who named it, but I am giving them some credit, obviously, or giving them the credit for coining that term. But I thought it really fit today's sermon. Mm-hmm. Now, just to kind of give you the context of how did we get here, black wives? And we passed Mother's Day, so why are you talking about these black wives? On Facebook, I ran across a picture of Usain Bolt kissing his white girlfriend. Um, I don't even know if they're still together. I don't know if that picture was taken this year or 10 years ago. It doesn't really matter because I'm not interested in Usain Bolt's personal life. I quite enjoy watching him on the track, but to be honest, it was just the principle of the matter that intrigued me more than Usain Bolt's personal life. So let's get that out there right away. We are not interested in people's personal lives more as much as we are the actual principle behind a superstar track and field artist, the fastest man in the world, Usain Bolt, potentially marrying someone that is not a black person, is not an African. All right. Some people, get touches when you start talking about. That's our word, right? Touches. They get touches when you start talking about these things, because the world that we live in today does little to pay attention to that which actually gave birth to it, which is creation. Amen. And so we're going to be moving through today's sermon answering the question or discussing the topic of biracial relationships and race, and even what the scriptures have to say on these things, because technically in the scriptures there weren't races, but there definitely were tribes. All right, and so we're gonna see what people biblically, such as Abraham and others, were saying about these types of things. The first place we want to go is 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19. Now, of course, we all know that this is Paul, and we have a love-hate relationship with Paul, as we know that most of his doctrine is the doctrine of the Antichrist. Right off the top, we know this. However, truth is truth, and when he speaks truth, we will share it as truth. When he lies, we will share it as lies. But since he wanted to put most of his books in the Bible, we can't run away from him. Right, in the New Testament, in any event. But 1 Corinthians 6 and 19 reads, what? Question. Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, or the Holy Soul, as we know in the Holy Qubtic Church? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Soul, which is in you, which ye have of God, and ye are not your own? You are not your own. Now we're starting at this particular point in time because automatically when we start talking about relationships, people get personal. And they feel as if you're picking and prodding into their personal life. No, that's not what we're doing. We're not interested in your personal affairs. That's not our business. However, we need everybody with an ear to listen, understand that there is a world bigger than you. Right. And we have to contend with the realities of the world that is bigger than each and every one of us, whether it offends our personal lives or not. Okay? And so this is a biblical principle or precept or reality whereby Paul was quoting ancient precepts that he was studying from at the time, where he was simply saying, your body don't belong to you. Your genes, your makeup, none of it belongs to you. It has been entrusted to you. It has been entrusted to you. The Most High Heavenly One, and we'll get to that in a second, made you out in its image and after its likeness, so that you could be a caretaker, an extension of what the Most High has given you. Well, how does this tie into Black Lives Matter? Genesis 3 and 20. Genesis 3 and 20. Touches on the essence of what today's sermon is all about. Genesis 3 and 20. It reads, and Adam called his wife's name what? Eve. Because why? She was the mother of all living. Eve was the mother of all living. So, being that Eve, being that women, being that they are wives, those, whether you can have a child or not, because there are women who don't have children and have children. So let's make that very clear. You understand? There are many women who cannot physically give birth, but they are in a position whereby they're taking care of many children who need that motherly love. So we will make it clear. We're talking about all of those women. You understand? And you are the mother of all living, scientifically known as mitochondrial Eve. Mitochondrial Eve, a reality that Hollywood has tapped into and many other people have tapped into, so that we as Nubian Melaninites, so-called black people, if we don't reclaim our true religious identity and our scriptures, we will miss the point of the importance of mitochondrial in our lives and the importance it has to our community and our well-being, and the fact that if we as black men don't find black women to have black children with, we are going to lose certain characteristics that have been entrusted to us by the Most High Heavenly One. You understand what's going on now? And so let's go now to the very beginning of Genesis chapter 1, because when again you start to speak like this, people want to tick off the box called racist and racism next to your name. But if we indeed are to be considered racist, let us be clear that we are in good company. Huh? As the scriptures are going to show, we are in good company. But this is not racism. This is not racism. All right? We're going to start at Genesis 1 and 11. Okay? Of course, Genesis 1 is when things are being created in the Garden of Eden. And this is the principal blueprint for how the planet is supposed to sustain itself. This is the blueprint, right? And verse 11 reads, and God, or Elohim, or Nataru Elohim, said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit. What? After his kind. After his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. Now this word kind, mean, is the word in Hebrew, mean, and it talks about species. Okay? After its species. Alright? Now the word species etymologically, in part, the definition speaks to common characteristics. Common characteristics. It says, as a classification, they say in logic from Latin, species, a particular sort, kind, or type. Okay? It goes on further, verse 12. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after what? His kind. His kind again. Okay? And the tree yielding fruit whose seed was in itself after what? His kind. And God saw that it was good. So it's talking about seed and it's talking about kind. Which is why fornication, which we can touch on in a short time, when you see fruits in the food store with no seeds, that is fornication. That is interfering with kind, with self and kind. See, this thing goes deeper than people now. That's why I say it can't be a racist doctrine. Right. It can't be a racist doctrine because, why? It's deeper than race. We ain't talking about no race. There's no race in genetics. That's the first thing I learned at Tuskegee University in my genetics class. There is no race in genetics. Right. My teacher told me right away, y'all put that down. We ain't talking about no race. You understand? And so these people then, or animals, or fruit, or herb of its kind, when they are in the same group as a species and live in a particular geographical area and have the capability of interbreeding, they are called a population. Scientifically, that is what a population is, a summation of all the organisms of the same group or species which live in a particular geographical area and have the capability of interbreeding. Which is why, when we go now to, let's go to Exodus 20, verse 12, right? Exodus 20 and 12, we learn another biblical precept, which says, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God gave thee. See, we always stop at honor your mother and your father. But the verse doesn't stop there. The verse says, upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. And that again speaks to population, the geographical area. All right? And so, right off the top, we see that obviously what we're saying is something that the Most High Heavenly One intended for all tribes, all species, all races, whatever name you want to give it. They were supposed to abide by these precepts in order to keep an actual ecology intact. And so right now what I want to do is jump to our scripture reading from this morning on page 196. All right? And this is from the book of Ma'at. The book of Ma'at. And Ma'at is personified as a woman. All right? A Nubian Melanite woman or human, all right, with a single feather on her head. All right? A woman, a black woman. The law that is all encompassing in our lives and in the universe is symbolized by a black woman.
Right.
The carrier of the mitochondrial DNA.
Right.
Come on?
Come on.
Which we can get into a little further. On page 196, verse 33, it reads, O humanity, most surely have we left on tar earth the angelic records. We are reading from the angelic records. The word angel means message. So the messengers of the Most High Heavenly One from amongst our families have kept these records sacred. And these are the records that we, as atonists, are living our lives by. Why am I making that point clear? Some people don't consider themselves atonists. And that's their business. That means these are not your records.
Right.
Okay? And if you choose not to live by these records, hey, that's on you. We're not saying you condemn. We're not saying you go into hell. We're not saying you're evil. You understand? If I go into the gym and I exercising and you choose not to go, that don't make you evil. That means you must have another plan. You may be going on Gutman's back. I don't know. You might not need to go to the gym. I don't know. You understand? That's how we live. So, most surely have we left on tar earth the angelic records concerning sexuality. So there are records concerning sexuality as taught by the priestesses and priests of the Holy Qubtic Church that do protect the teachings of the men priesthood. The men priesthood. All right? The men priesthood are those who were responsible for upholding the precepts of natural sexual union. See, sex is general. You're talking about intercourse and how you perform intercourse and with who and with what. There were specific protocols put in place so that we didn't abuse what was entrusted to us, which is our seed. Natari Elohim, which is the all-inclusive and complete aspects, principles, attributes, chemicals, elements, guardians, and nurturing forces, had created you all into tribes and families in order that tar earth be filled with variations of your species, which help to maintain its balancement. So we were all created in tribes and families in order to keep the planet balanced. Saying about your personal life. You have a responsibility to keep your unique genetic identity so that the planet remains balanced. The planet remains balanced. It goes on to say, thus defile not this balancement by mixing your seed, as the result is and will continue to be detrimental towards the planet's progression. Not just your own personal progression, the planet's progression. Instead, take your lead from the rest of nature, wherein bees and wasps don't violate this divine principle. You ain't got to get deep. You ain't got to go to sit in school for 4, 8, 12 years and read zillions and zillions of boring studies to figure this thing out. Just go get some lemonade and sit on the porch. Bees and wasps, they don't mix. Lions and tigers, they don't violate this divine principle. Now they'll say, yo, but Pastor, there are such things as ligers. I say not in the wild. The only place you can find ligers is in captivity. Right. And they have genetic defects. They have genetic problems. You understand? Now the people who pushing this concept will lie and say, oh, well, we figured out how to navigate through the genetics so that they don't have as many genetic problems. But the point is, you will not find a pack of ligers running around. You could pay to go see them somewhere, but they ain't running around. Because this is something that men or scientists, men and women, have put together. Whales and sharks don't violate this divine principle, nor do parakeets and hawks violate this divine principle, as they all instinctively know how important keeping nature balanced is towards nature's survival. Huh? We want men's right, we want women's right. What about nature's rights? Huh? And usually the people who talk about nature conservancy, some of them are the main culprits in destroying nature in the first place. Right. And maybe feel guilty now and come back to try to fix it. Whatever it takes. We're happy that people are concerned about the environment. That's important. You understand? But the point of the matter is, this sermon is talking about the survival of not only us as Nubian Melaninites, but the environment that we live in. You can't survive and your environment is being destroyed. Huh? That makes zero sense. And so, right off the top then, we see that there's a doctrine within nature. A doctrine within nature that allows for those who want to pay attention to see exactly what the Most High had always intended for us, which was to stay within certain genetic lines. You understand? Now, of course, there are people who are hearing this sermon who say, but I already have a child that's mixed. And we're not saying that child is bad. We're not saying you bad. We're not saying that that couple was bad or is bad because that happened. The point of the matter is, it happened. Now you have to deal with it. You have to now begin to understand the consequences of such. And some people say, well, I don't have no consequences. My life is great. Beautiful. That's you. We ain't talking about one individual. We ain't talking about one family. We talking about groups and groups and groups of people mixing their seed. You understand? So again, not attacking anybody. Some people will say, well, you know, Pastor Eneas, they sound like the Aryan nation. They sound very Hitler-like. Well, just be clear. Hitler and the Aryan nation and all of that foolishness that was going on in World War II, all right, and even the eugenics campaign before that, because the eugenics campaign started in America, and they learned about that in Germany. You all like to keep talking about Hitler. You better figure out who in America. You better figure out what Planned Parenthood really is. Huh? Ku Klux Klan and all these different things, what they really are. You understand? Hitler was just, he put it on the forefront. You understand? But they talked about a pure race. I'm a scientist. Okay? I still don't know what a pure race is. I don't know what a pure race is in terms of what they are making it out to be. We're going now into the original books of the Bible, and we want to look at page 169. Page 169 in the original books of the Bible, because we can go a little deeper than we normally go. All right, we're on page, verse 122. All right, and I need us to understand what we are as Nubian Melaninites, as human and human beings. Because the scientists of today will tell you, you're a human being. And these are terms or limitations or actual frames that they place on us to limit us so that we don't understand our fullest potential. But on page 169, verse 122, it says, listen, O humanity, so that you may hear the conclusion of the events concerning the processes of evolution. So in the Holy Coptic Church, we accept that evolution is a reality. We don't have to have the back and forth between evolution and creationism. They are both a part of our reality. What all of this means is that members of humanity in varying degrees of genetic potency are composed of different species of celestial and terrestrial beings which are walking to and fro on earth on tar Earth's surface, in the seas, as well as the skies. So you have genetic material from beings on this planet, and you have genetic material from beings outside of this planet. All of us in varying degrees of genetic potency. Now don't tell me that ain't no true, because in Genesis 6 they say the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men. Where did they come from? Because if they the sons of God, they must use with God. And they saying God ain't here. They say God in heaven. But he everywhere. Confusing. I understand. That's another sermon. Right? But the point of the matter is, where did they come from? Where does it, in Genesis 2 and 4, where it says, these are the generations of the heaven and the earth. The word generation, yalad, is talking about actual genes. So they are heavenly genes that have been mixed in this planet, so that those heavenly beings can adapt to this particular environment. You understand? In the Hindu doctrine, they talk about the avatar, or the avatars. That ain't just a cartoon. That's very real. You understand? Yahshua, all right, Bar Mesa, and many, if not all of you in this room, have that potential, have those actual genetics within you. You understand? That's what people don't. They want to get caught up on race. You understand? But race itself is it's a social construct. I want to read something from, this is a book called The New Jim Crow, by Michelle Alexander. The New Jim Crow. And it's an awesome book. But she talks about a rebellion that took place in the 1600s called Bacon's Rebellion. Bacon's Rebellion. And it did a lot to kind of shift race relations between blacks and whites in America. And a lot of the doctrines that were spewed in America have been spread across the world. It says, varying accounts of Bacon's rebellion abound. So there's different stories of this particular rebellion. But the basic facts are these. Bacon developed plans, so Bacon is a person, all right? His last name is Bacon. Bacon developed plans in 1675 to seize Native American lands in order to acquire more property for himself and others and nullify the threat of Indian raids. When the planter elite in Virginia refused to provide militia support for his scheme, Bacon retaliated, leading an attack on the elite, their homes, and their property. There's a white man attacking the elite. So they like to talk about Nat Turner and all these different things. The white people was attacking them too. Because wrong is wrong. You understand? He openly condemned the rich for their oppression of the poor and inspired an alliance of white and black bond laborers as well as slaves who demanded an end to their servitude. So everybody wasn't a slave. Some people were indentured servants. You could work your time, work for a period of time, and be free. Get your freedom papers, right? So he had the blacks and the whites together to fight against the upper class. It wasn't a race thing. It was you treating people wrong thing. It goes on to say the attempted revolution was ended by force and false promises of amnesty. A number of people who participated in the revolt were hanged. The events in Jamestown were alarming to the planter elite. So the planters scared now. Planters peanuts, right? The planters are scared. Who were deeply fearful of the multiracial alliance of bond workers and slaves. I mean, they got the whites and the blacks against us. Word of Bacon rebellion spread far and wide, and several more uprisings of a similar type followed. This thing getting serious now. This ain't black people attacking us. This black and white people attacking us. In an effort to protect their superior status and economic position, the planters shifted their strategy. They always shifted their strategy for maintaining dominance. They abandoned their heavy reliance on indentured servants in favor of the importation of more black slaves. So they did, well, we ain't messing with no indentured servants. We can just get the slaves. Instead of importing English-speaking slaves from the West Indies, who were more likely to be familiar with the European language and culture, Many more slaves were shipped directly from Africa. These slaves would be far easier to control and far less likely to form alliances with poor whites. Why? Because they can't understand each other. They're totally disoriented. Fearful that such measures might be sufficient to protect their interests, might not be sufficient to protect their interests, the planter class took an additional precautionary step, a step which would later come to be known as a racial bribe. A racial bribe. Deliberately and strategically, the planter class extended special privileges to poor whites in an effort to drive a wedge between them and black slaves. White settlers were allowed greater access to Native American lands. White servants were allowed to police slaves through slave patrols and militias, and barriers were created so that free labor would not be placed in competition with slave labor. These measures effectively eliminated the risk of future alliances between black slaves and poor whites. Poor whites suddenly had a direct personal stake in the existence of a race-based system of slavery. Their own plight had not improved much, but at least they were not slaves. Wow. Once the planter elite split the labor force, poor whites responded to the logic of their situation and sought ways to expand their racially privileged position. So this whole idea of racism then is a construct of the elite. This is why the KKK was formed. This is why other so-called hate groups were formed to terrorize anybody who is coming into the actual market and they say taking jobs from the white people. You understand? And so we want to make it very clear that this is not about racism, not in any event, not in any way, shape, or form.
The True Light Fellowship Hour, brought to you by the Holy Qubtic Church, will be right back after these messages.
Art Ventures Limited, trading as floral arts, still creating beauty through the art of floral design. Your special occasion is all that matters to us, and we pride ourselves in maintaining close relationships with our clients. For wedding decor, receptions, or any special events, contact Art Ventures at 677-2860 or 393-3561. Visit our website at www.floralartsbahamas.com. Relax and let Floral Arts make your ideas come to life.
Do you want to improve your job skills or start, manage, or grow a business? Market Turnquist and Associate Companies offers 25 job and entrepreneurship training programs that are approved by the Ministry of Education. Only $250 per course. We also prepare business and marketing plans for less than $500. Contact us at 326-6748 or 427-3640 or email us at markaturnquist@gmail.com.
Have a damaged bumper and looking for quality work at a good price? Let BumperTech repair your bumper by remanufacturing it to its original specification. BumperTech also offers a full line of auto body repairs and a wide range of plastic welding and repairs. Call us today for an assessment at 394-0891, 676-2288, or visit us at Soldier Road Industrial Park. BumperTech, quality without compromise.
Eneas Dental Clinic, offering years of affordable and reliable dental services, is now operating out of Star Dental Clinic. Located Rosetta and Alexander Streets, just opposite the Old City Market, Eneas Dental Clinic still offers the affordable dental care you've come to know them for, along with dental hygiene services such as teeth whitening, cleanings, and more. Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas Jr. and Eneas Dental Clinic is now operating out of Star Dental Clinic, located Rosetta and Alexander Streets, just opposite the Old City Market. Eneas Dental and Star Dental, a caring team you can trust. Welcome back to the True Light Fellowship Hour, brought to you by the Holy Qubtic Church, led in the Bahamas by Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Ka-Hun, Anku Sa Ra.
Let's now go into the Bible to see what the Bible says. Now, the Bible doesn't talk much about race. However, it does speak about tribes. And one of the tribes, a very troublesome tribe, is the tribe of Canaan. Okay? Before we go into these verses, we want to just be clear on who the Canaanites were. So we go into the King James Study Bible. This is the Nelson edition. Okay? It's not a special Bible. I didn't order it online. You went to the Bible bookstore right here in the Bahamas. And I'll call your name if you sponsor the show. But in Genesis 9 and 25, we're going to read that first and then the commentary. It says, and he said, cursed be Canaan. Cursed be who? Canaan. So Canaan is cursed. A servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. So Canaan, the tribe, the person who becomes a tribe is cursed. Here's what the commentary says. Cursed be Canaan. The essence of this prophetic curse is that only the Canaanites are cursed. No one else. Not all of Ham's descendants, because Ham had more than Canaan. He had Cush, he had Foot, etc., right? So it says, servants of servants literally denotes the most abject slavery. Even when the blessings are declared for the brothers, the name of Canaan servitude is repeated both times. The Canaanites were white. The Canaanites were white. I didn't say this. This ain't Pastor Eneas. This ain't the Holy Qubtic Church. This is the Holy Bible, the King James Study Bible, Nelson version is saying the Canaanites are white. So the Canaanites then are speaking about the white people, according to this. All right? Now, let us see what biblically is being said about the Canaanites. First of all, let's go to Genesis chapter 10. Because often we hear about Sodom and Gomorrah. There's even books on our laws today. One called Sodomy that comes right from this Bible. Genesis chapter 10. But who were the Sodomites? Genesis chapter 10, if we start at verse 15. Genesis 10, because they're going to give you the actual tribe of Canaan, right? And Canaan begot Sidon, his firstborn, and Heath. Remember these names now. Sidon, Heath, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. And afterward were the families of the Canaanites spread abroad. They spread out. And the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon, as thou comest to Gerar, so they named the actual place after the firstborn, Sidon, right? As they comest to Gerar unto Gaza, as thou goest unto where? Sodom and Gomorrah, and Admah, and Zeboim, even unto Lasha. So, the Sodomites, the Gomorrahites, are who? The Canaanites. And according to this Nelson King James Study Bible, the Canaanites are white people. I didn't say that. Now, we see the same behavior of sodomy, etc., in their descendants, the Greeks and the Romans, which they don't hide. You watch these shows with Alexander and different, and they ain't hiding it. Spartacus. The Greeks was freaks. You understand what I'm saying? Straight up. All right? We talking real talk now. So let's see now what biblically was being said about these Canaanites. Go to Genesis 24, 1 through 4. Genesis 24, because we're talking about black wives and black wives mattering. And even in the biblical times, we're going to see now where Abraham is saying black wives matter. Right? So, Genesis 24, we're going to read the first 4 verses. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age. And the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, that ruled over all that he had, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh. This is where, when they say testimony, when you got to give a testimony in court, because they used to put their hand under your thigh and grab your testicles. You swearing, that's what you're swearing on.
That's right.
See, you can lie in the Bible all you want. You can still have your testicles. Huh? But if you swearing on them testicles, I mean, they coming back for these, but you know, yo.
Start off.
Huh?
Start off.
All right then. You better say what you mean and mean what you say.
That's right.
That's old. Huh?
That's right.
Says, I will make thee swear by the Lord, the God of heaven, and the God of the earth. Two gods there. Or God will in two places. You see the celestial genes and the terrestrial genes? Huh? Because wherever we are, that's where God is. Right? I will make thee swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of the earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell. I can live around them now. He living around them. But don't let my child marry none of these, yeah? This is Abraham. This is Abraham. Abraham saying, I don't hate white people, you know. This is Abraham. I don't hate white people. But you and Josh. Don't let him tell you what's going on. I talking to you. Huh? He is not to marry any of these Canaanites that the Nelson Bible says white people. Verse 4, but thou shalt go unto my country. Go back to where I'm from. Go back to where my navel string is buried. Unto my kindred. Don't just go to my country now. Go to my neighborhood. Go to my family. And take a wife unto my son Isaac. Huh? He keeping the characteristics of his genealogy intact by making sure that his son married a woman from his tribe. And there's black people. Abraham was a Chaldean. You understand? So Abraham is saying black wives matter. Put your hand under my thigh. Huh? Let's now look at Exodus 34 and 16. See, because when you go out there to talk to people, you don't put yourself out there. No, put the scripture out there, man. All right? Exodus 34 and 16. Actually, I don't want to start at 16. I want to jump back to 10. Exodus 34, starting at 10. And he said, behold, I make a covenant before all thy people. I will do marvels such as have been done in all the earth, nor in any nation. And all the people among which thou art shall see the work of the Lord, for it is a terrible thing that I will do with thee. Observe thou that which I command thee this day. Behold, I drive out before thee the Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite. These are the tribes of Canaan. I'm moving them. Take heed to thyself. I'm warning you now. Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land whither thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee. You mix with these people, you can be in problems. But, it says, ye shall destroy their altars. This is why Revelation, John is being told to go to the 7 churches. Because they tainted the original scriptures. The first love is what is talked about in the book of Revelation, atonism. But thou shalt destroy their altars, break their images. The Qubtic church is the black Messiah. You breaking the image in your mind. We ain't going around tearing down no crosses. You breaking the image in your mind. Break their images and cut down their groves. For thou shalt worship no other God. For the Lord, whose name they say is jealous, is a jealous God. Right? In Hebrew is actually zealous. Alright? Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land. If you mix with them, you make covenant with them, what's going to happen? Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods, and one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice. Was they sacrificing pig. Zeus. Pig worship. And thou take the daughters unto thy sons, and their daughters go a whoring after their gods. And make thy sons go in a whoring after their gods. That's what we're doing in this country. Whoring after other people's gods. You're not honoring your mother and your father. That's why your days ain't long. Deuteronomy 7. Deuteronomy 7, 1 through 4. Deuteronomy 7. They're saying the Holy Qubtic Church making up stuff to sound deep. We ain't playing on Facebook. That's what we doing. We ain't playing at all. That's right. I hope you have your Bible. Because you ain't going to be mad at me at the end of this sermon. You be mad at the Bible. And don't tell me this is the Old Testament. Because the Ten Commandments in the Old Testament too. So if you ain't listening to this, don't tell me about the Ten Commandments. When the Lord thy God, Deuteronomy chapter 7 and 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. They on the G7 nowadays. Yeah, 7 nations. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Come on, man. This ain't no racist doctrine. It's a biblical doctrine. Now, some people have used it to actually further or bolster their racist cause. That ain't what we're saying. That's not what we're saying. It says, neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. For they will turn thy son from following me. This is the point that we want to make, You could love a person as much as you want. That don't mean they're going to adhere to the same principles as you. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you, and destroy thee suddenly. Well, this week we can go to your church, and next week we can go to that. That's confusion. That's confusion. 1 week Jesus white, and 1 week Jesus black. Come on, man. That can't wait, boy. That can't wait. Now, let's go to the book of sperm. Ezra. Y'all didn't know the Bible, the book of sperm, eh? Yes, it's called the book of Ezra. They played a trick on us and moved the E and the Z around because the book of Ezra is really the book of Zerah. And the word Zerah is the word sperma in Greek. In Hebrew is Zerah, and in Greek is sperma. And of course, we know when we hear sperma, that's where the word sperm is coming from. All right? So, in Ezra chapter 9, the 9th chapter, is entitled Intermarriage with Pagans. And that's what they call it. Right? We can read just the first two verses of Ezra 9. Now, when these things were done, the princes came to me, saying, the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the land, doing according to their abominations, even of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites. Now, these Egyptians they talking about was the Greeks, Aegyptos, not Tamarines. But there's, see, you ain't supposed to mix with Egyptians either. Nope, that ain't what it's talking about. Because we never made up the word Egypt. That's a Greek word. You understand? So they mix them with these Canaanites. For they have taken of their daughters for themselves and for their sons, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands. Yea, the hand of the princes and the rulers hath been chief in the trespass. They're the main ones. The rulers, they're the main ones. You understand? And if we can go further into Ezra 9, or you can go through it on your own for the sake of time, we can move on to 1 Kings 11, 1 through 6. 1 Kings 11, because they're talking about Solomon. And they'll tell you Solomon was the wisest man that ever lived, blah, blah, blah. Solomon priest right there. Solomon priest wrote that. Solomon wasn't the wisest man ever. Show me one thing Solomon built around and but still living, but still existing now. Show me one thing. Since he's so wise. Imhotep that still that stuff. What was built? Huh? He have more of a case of being the wisest that ever lived. Right? Now they'll tell you that, well, Jesus is from the line of Solomon. So I mean, if you're trying to say, huh? That this mixing of seed is so bad, well, how come Jesus came out of a mixed seed? Well, I'm here to tell you that's a lie. Jesus did not come out of the seed of Solomon. Jesus came out of the seed of Adonijah, Solomon's brother. All right? Which is a whole other sermon. I ain't getting into that. All right? But I only saying that because the questions has come to me. That's how I deal with them, you see. So, 1 Kings 1 through 6. But King Solomon loved many strange women. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The word strange is foreigner. 11. 1 King 11. Well, he's the king. I want to eat red grapes. I want some white grapes too. I only want red one. Huh? Hey, baby, I want all them grapes. Huh? But the king Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Ammon, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites. Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, Ye shall not go in to them, neither shall they come in unto you. For surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. That's what we're talking about, you know. That's what we're talking about. Because I know plenty nice white people. Huh? I got white people in my family that I love. You understand? So this ain't about hating nobody. It's about the fact that some things they just ain't gonna get. Bottom line, no love lost. They ain't coming to sit up in here and worship no black Jesus. They want you to come worship white Jesus though.
That's right.
It's okay for you to do that. But you'll never see, well, I'll be surprised. Let me say no. Let me not say never. I'll be very surprised if I see a church of white people worshiping black Jesus. That's just saying. But you could see a church of black people worshiping the white Jesus. Huh? So it says, Ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon cleaved unto these in love. That's what they talk about, love, but I love him. I love. What is love? Y'all talking about lust. That ain't love. The word love is ashug. And the word ashug means all attributes, all elements, all gases. The highest potency of nature that provides for you is love. That's why the word love is the word live. It's just a vowel away. Move the O and put an I there, and you have live. So that which causes life is love, not just how you feel. You understand? And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines. His wives turned away his heart. Right? We stop at verse 3. All right? Because that's the point we're trying to make. They turned away his heart. Okay? And so, why, again, do black wives matter? Because if they turn away your heart, first of all, let's understand something. The first teacher of the children is the woman. The first throne that you ever will sit on in this life is the lap of a woman. That's why Aset, one of our guardian angelic hosts, Aset's name is throne. This is where the Madonna and child comes from Aset and Haru, or Har. Suckling the babe. You understand? When I watch my son sit in his mother's lap and he just looking up at her. Huh? That's his heaven. That's his God right now. When he cry, he want to see her. He ain't want to see black or white Jesus. He wants to see mommy.
That's right.
You understand? Huh? He wants some bubbas.
That's right.
That's what he's saying. Huh? But as black men, we have to know that our seed must be planted in fertile soil. We must be, because if you don't plant the seed in good soil, it's not going to yield good fruit. Or the best fruit. The fruit that gets the most nutrients, the most love. Huh? Ashuk. Amun? It goes on to say, and let me just say this, all these thoughts come into my mind. When we talk about black people come, you see that girl who pretended to be a black woman for the NAACP? She could pretend so long because we have black people fair skin like her, and they black.
That's right.
So from the first, that's what I want people to understand around here, The rainbow represents the covenant that was issued to the Nubian Melanites. And we are all colors of the rainbow. We ain't just blue, black, and purple, black. I ain't blue, black, and purple, black. I ain't the blackest person in this church. So the point is, we are a rainbow. We ain't saying mixed people are bad, because one of the saints in this church is a mixed man. Bob Marley. He just sang one of his songs, Get Up, Stand Up. That's a mixed man. His daddy is a white man. So don't cloud this. I can keep saying it because I don't know the devil's out there trying to cloud this issue. You understand? That ain't what we're talking about. Amun?
Amun.
We have to keep certain characteristics embedded in our genetic structure. Now, some people say, yeah, the Bible is a book of fairy tales. So, for you, I go to Indiana University. Indiana University, they were doing some studies on sunflower seeds. And they was trying to prove that when you mix species, you have a better result. Now, they were all sunflowers. So, we don't consider that mixed. But they found that they got some positive phenotypes out of mixing these sunflower seeds. So when people tell you, well, genetic diversity is what strengthens the genetic pool, that's genetic diversity within a population. Not crossing, see how wicked the devil is? Within the population, there has to be genetic diversity, right? It says, this is a portion of the study, it says the findings comes a month after IUB biologist Jeffrey Palmer and colleagues suggested in a letter to Nature, the magazine, that genetic exchange between completely unrelated species has occurred more often than experts previously thought. There are many modern examples of hybridization in nature. Some forced, some natural. Mules are bred by humans and from horses. Mules are bred from humans, from horses and donkeys. They are completely sterile and represent an evolutionary dead end. Nature says we don't want no more. So it's not that you cannot do it, It's what's the consequences of it. Still, cross-species matings usually result in sickness or sterility. That's what science is saying. You can afford to don't believe the Bible. You can afford to don't believe the Bible. You can afford to say the Bible is a fairy tale. Listen to the scientists, all these levels of science. Still, cross-species mating usually result in a sickness or sterility if the offspring get that far, if they even live. Many naturally abort. Hybrid offspring that are fertile but sick or weak will not be able to compete with the purer offspring of either parent in passing on their genes to future generations. They can't pass on the favorable characteristics. You understand? Which is what we are saying as we wrap up in terms of black women or black wives being important. Men, we don't pass on mitochondrial DNA. This is why black wives are important. Because it keeps the mitochondrial DNA in your family line through your daughters. They took that principle or that concept and they say the name carries on with the son. And so therefore, when you have a son, your name carries on. But that originally came from the fact that based on how many daughters you had, that means your mitochondrial DNA was still alive and carried on. Right. This is why in Genesis chapter 2, when they say Adam cleaved unto his wife, therefore shall a man leave his mother and his father and cleave unto his wife, it don't mean you're supposed to be cleave onto her literally. It means when you have children, all of your children are going to have her mitochondrial DNA. Therefore, you cleave unto her. And the mitochondrial DNA goes back to mitochondrial Eve, which keeps you in tune with the law. Back to the law. We ain't talking about race, we're talking about the law. As Proverbs, the book of Proverbs, we don't have time to go there right now, but the book of Proverbs speaks about this law and this wisdom as a woman. Say, bind her about your neck. Write her on your heart. It's talking about the laws of Ma'at. The black woman is the first standard of morality on this planet. Because the symbol of Ma'at is none other than the scales of justice, which is in every single respectable court on the planet. So when we say that we are the mothers and fathers of morality on the planet, that is not a racist statement. That is a factual statement, because all of your courts carry the scales of justice, which represents Ma'at, which represents the black woman. And therefore, this is why black lives matter. Say Amun and Namastu.
You have been listening to the True Light Fellowship Hour, brought to you by the Qubtic Church of the Black Messiah, Journey Home Group International, and our advertising partners, of whom we are very thankful. We are located at number 72 Meadow Street in historic Baintown and led in the Bahamas by Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Ka-Hun, Anku Sa Ra. If this message has been a blessing to you today, and you feel it in your heart to assist us in bringing forth this weekly message by way of advertising or otherwise, or you wish a copy of this message, we ask that you please contact us at 242-426-1148 or email us at qubticrevealer@gmail.com. That's QUBTIC revealer@gmail.com, or on Facebook, the Qubtic Church of the Black Messiah Journey Home Group International, Bahamas branch. We bow to the divinity in each and every one of you by saying, Namastu.